At risk of sounding like an old man, phones do too much nowadays. Why do I need an AI to help me respond to whatever message the group chat is sending? Why does Google Photos need to organize all of my photos by the faces that are in them? And why does the power button not turn off the damn phone? Well, I asked myself all of these questions, and I decided maybe it's time to go back to a simpler time, when the corpse of Vine was still fresh. Enter the Pixel 2 XL, Google's highest-end phone of 2017. And can I just say, I love this design. The two-toned half glass, half aluminum is just so good, and I know the Panda version is better, but this, it's still so great. And looking at the back of the phone, I can't help but notice a feature of a bygone era, the rear fingerprint sensor. And this rear fingerprint sensor is just as, if not faster, than the in-screen fingerprint sensor on my Pixel 7 Pro. And you even get the notification shade drop-down gesture that is absent on newer Pixels. The phone may have XL in the name, but does that mean it's a large phone? Well, by 2017 standards, yeah, kind of. It was larger than the iPhone X, but smaller than the Note 8. When comparing screen sizes to my much newer Pixel 7 Pro, yeah, it's a small phone, but the footprints are very similar. The Pixel 2 XL had considerably larger bezels than most modern phones, and that means it's going to take up about the same space on a desk. And of course, with a much older screen, you don't get any kind of high refresh rate. However, you do get a pretty high resolution, and the PPI of the Pixel 2 XL is actually better than my Pixel 7 Pro. And you know how every Pixel before the Pixel 6 was known to have some kind of fatal flaw? Never forget the radar in the Pixel 4. Well, this phone's main flaw was its screen. However, it wasn't like the original Pixel, where the screen would experience severe burn-in after use. No, the complaint with this screen, it wasn't saturated enough. This was apparently a big enough deal to reviewers at the time that Google was willing to give the phone a whole new color profile just to turn up the saturation a little bit. And by modern standards, I still think the screen looks pretty good. And to go back to the thick bezels found on this phone, they are kind of there for a reason. You'll notice on both the top and bottom bezel, we have large front-firing speakers, and the ones on my phone are pretty destroyed. However, if you keep the volume under control, they can still pump out some pretty good sound that I think easily competes with my Pixel 7 Pro, especially given that they're both front-firing, not one front-firing and one bottom-firing. And I mean, you would expect the speakers to be kind of destroyed on a 7-year-old phone you get from Goodwill for $15. More on that catch later. As for the rest of the outside of the phone, we have a USB-C port that doesn't work. More on that later. A SIM tray without SD card support, it is a Pixel, and a completely absent headphone jack. Yeah, remember when they made fun of Apple for that? Well, I remember when Google made fun of Apple for it, and then they made it to where only the A-series phones got the headphone jack. How else am I meant to connect quarter-inch jack headphones to a phone? Come on, Google. As for the inside of the phone, we have the standard 2017 affair. You got a Snapdragon 835 with 4 gigs of RAM and what was originally a 3500 mAh battery, although I'm sure in 7 years that has degraded some. But raw hardware specs have never been what Pixels are known for. They're known for their software magic. And given that the newest version of Android, the Pixel 2 XL, can run natively, is Android 11, this thing's pretty geriatric. But despite this version of Android being over 3 versions out of date, it really never got in my way. Sure, on a lot of apps, you're not getting the most modern versions. I mean, I couldn't get Google Messages to sync with my Google account. Some apps just flat out won't work. But overall, it will do most things a phone should do. All the social media apps I tried worked fine, web browsing posed absolutely no issue for the phone, and you even still get Google Assistant with Gemini. And you may be wondering, Google Assistant's a little bit of an odd thing to add. Phones have had that for years, but I bring it up for this one reason. That's right, you can squeeze the sides of the phone to bring up the Google Assistant. I don't even like this feature because it makes it easier to access Google Assistant. I like it because it means the power button is freed up, so that way you can use it like an actual power button and turn off the phone, not bring up some other random menu that I should not have to press a key combination to get to. Anyways, tangent aside, how is some more heavy usage like gaming on this very old phone? For today's test suite, we will be testing both Minecraft and COD Mobile. Starting with COD Mobile, it was set to the medium graphical preset with the highest frame rate option. Weird choice, I know. And it just kind of worked. Gameplay was smooth and fairly consistent. Frame times were very good, quite frankly. And it never got in my way and allowed me to stomp some bots. As for Minecraft, the story is pretty similar, although playing at 7 chunks you will notice occasional lag when you load new chunks in. Granted, the same thing could be said for my nearly brand new Pixel 7 Pro, So if you want to play Minecraft, this phone will do it just fine and even works with the newest version. Other than software experience, Pixels are known for one main thing, and that is the camera. And given that the Pixel 2 XL and the normal Pixel 2 have the same camera sensor that was used all the way up to the Pixel 6a, the camera holds up decently. And being that it's a Pixel, it has received features over time that came to other Pixels and trickled down. And I don't care about live photos, but it does mean we get night sight. During the day, the photos are still pretty solid, even compared to a modern flagship phone. You get 12 megapixel photos, which is about the same as what modern phones will bend down to with their higher megapixel sensors. Dynamic range is actually pretty impressive for a phone and sensor this old. And of course, pixel colors, bright and contrasty. As for nighttime or low light photos, thanks to night sight, you actually get an experience that is fairly usable. Is it as good as a modern flagship? Absolutely not, but you can buy a Pixel 2 XL for $15. As is the case with most Pixels, the story starts to fall apart once we introduce video. You can record video up to 4K 30fps or 1080p 120fps, but it's not great. This was before Google introduced optical image stabilization on their cameras, so most of the stabilization here is just electronic. This means you get a smaller field of view than what you would get in a picture, and overall the video processing just isn't that good. As for the selfie camera, it's a selfie camera. I'm not usually one who uses my selfie camera regularly, but for those of you who do, it's there and it's 8 megapixels. It will do 1080p, 30fps video. Does it have autofocus? No. Does a modern Android flagship have autofocus? No. If you really want good selfie quality, go and buy an iPhone. And I've mentioned a few times throughout the video that this phone was obtained for $15 from Goodwill, and that doesn't come without a catch or two. The catch on this phone? The USB-C port is foobarred. It will only accept non-USB-C PD chargers for some reason, and data transfer just does not seem to work at all, meaning any screen capture you saw in this video was obtained very painfully and slowly. And of course, without USB-C PD to charge it, it means we get very slow charging times, and I can't even remedy the solution with wireless charging because the Pixel series did not get wireless charging until the Pixel 3. And originally, this video had an entirely different scope. I had wanted to put Lineage OS on the phone and test an older phone with a modern OS to see if the hardware could still do it, but because there's no data transfer over the USB-C port, I just can't. So, I guess you get what you pay for when you pay $15 for a very old cell phone. But of course, I cannot end one of these videos without saying if I recommend the product or not. And do I recommend the Pixel 2 XL? No, don't buy one. Sure, if you buy one with a working USB-C port, you can put the newest version of Lineage OS on there, have up-to-date security patches, all that. It's not a security risk or anything, but you saw my old Pixel 4a earlier in the video, and quite frankly, I think an older Pixel A series is a much better buy. You can get a newer phone for very cheap as well, probably not $15, but even most Pixel 2s cost more than that. Even with a couple generation Pixel A series, you get more RAM, a faster processor, and newer features. It's just all around a better phone, and they can also have Lineage OS put onto them if you want security or anything like that. And if you only spend a few more dollars, you can buy something like a 6A, which still has a decent bit of software support left and doesn't cost more than $100 to $200. But I do kind of wonder how the competitors to this phone, like the Note 8 or the iPhone X, are holding up today. And if that's something y'all have interest in, please leave a comment and let me know, because I think it might make for an interesting test/comparison. Also, if y'all enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, as it helps more people find the channel, and monthly tech videos are what I do here. Also, a big thank you. We recently hit about 250 subscribers. That number keeps climbing up every time I check YouTube analytics, which is super cool. I appreciate the support. Now, I'm Jaxon the Nerd. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all next month.